Man Ray, one of the leading figures in Dadaism and Surrealism, is most famous for his groundbreaking photography, particularly his portraiture. His eerie and striking works offer unique perspectives that challenge and expand the boundaries of fine art. A master of experimental and fashion photography, Man Ray was also a painter, filmmaker, poet, essayist, philosopher, and a key figure in American modernism. Best known for capturing the cultural elite in France, he consistently pushed against the formal constraints of visual arts. Ray's life and art were provocative, engaging, and challenging, always ahead of their time. In this video, we explore his groundbreaking contributions to art, including his innovative techniques and iconic images. Discover the man behind the lens, his profound influence on modern art, and how his creativity continues to inspire artists today. From his early days in New York to his lasting impact in Paris, Man Ray's legacy remains unforgettable. Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of this visionary artist. My book, Through the Lens: Inspiring Quotes from Master Photographers, is now available for purchase. This book is a captivating and inspiring collection of insights, reflections, and wisdom from some of the most renowned photographers in history. Get your copy now. The link to purchase it on Amazon is available below in the description box. Born Emanuel Radnitsky in 1890, Man Ray spent most of his young life in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The eldest child of an immigrant Jewish tailor, he was a mediocre student who shunned college for the bohemian artistic life in nearby Manhattan. In New York, he began to work as an artist, meeting many of the most important figures of the time. He learned the rudiments of photography from the art dealer and photographer Alfred Stieglitz and began to experiment on his own. In 1914, Man Ray married the Belgian poet Adon Lacroix, and soon after met the experimental artist Marcel Duchamp. Duchamp was to be one of Man Ray's greatest influences, as well as a close friend and collaborator. Together, the two attempted to bring some of the verve of the European experimental art movements to America. The most energetic of these movements was Dada. Dada was an attempt to create work so absurd it confused the viewer's sense of reality. The Dadaists would take everyday objects and present them as if they were finished works of art. For Man Ray, Dada's experimentation was no match for the wild and chaotic streets of New York, and he wrote, "Dada cannot live in New York. All New York is Dada, and will not tolerate a rival." Having broken with his wife, Man Ray left New York for Paris in 1921, marking a continuous stream of tempestuous and often doomed romances. Through Duchamp, Man Ray met some of the most exciting artists and thinkers in Paris. Though he didn't speak a word of French at first, he was welcomed into this group and became its unofficial photographer. Among the many models from this period were Pablo Picasso, Ernest Hemingway, Salvador Dali, Gertrude Stein, James Joyce, and the famous performer Kiki of Montparnasse. For 6 years, Kiki was Ray's constant model muse and lover. Among the most famous of his photographs of the time are the many of Kiki. Man Ray's photographs of Kiki often use the outline of her body to represent other objects. This interest in minimalism and abstraction carried over to Man Ray's experiments with what he termed rayographs. A rayograph was made by placing a three-dimensional object or series of objects on top of a piece of photographic paper and exposing it to light. These images lyrically and impressionistically represented objects such as ropes, light bulbs, and thumbtacks. Many artists responded positively to Man Ray's daring combination of minimalism, chance, and absurdity, and in 1922, he published his first book of them entitled The Delightful Fields. Throughout the 1930s, Man Ray continued to paint, sculpt, and make portraits along with the Surrealists, whose freewheeling dispositions were similar to his own. Despite being thoroughly involved in the artistic life of France, World War II forced Man Ray to leave Paris, and he moved to Hollywood. In Hollywood, many expatriate artists, musicians, and writers took up residence. He spent 10 years there working as a fashion photographer. With his brave use of lighting and minimalist representation, Man Ray produced fashion photographs unlike any that had come before, and forever changed that discipline. Man Ray longed, however, to be back in Paris, the city that had nurtured his creative life. So after the war, married to a young dancer named Juliette Brown, he moved back. He spent the next 25 years there, creating paintings, sculptures, films, and photographs. Man Ray passed away on November 18th, 1976 at the age of 86. Man Ray, a name synonymous with the avant-garde, remains a beacon of innovation and rebellion in the history of art. His journey was not just about mastering a craft. It was about redefining the very essence of what art could be. To understand the magnitude of his legacy, one must delve into the turbulent world of the early 20th century, a time when the world was reeling from the devastation of the First World War, and artists were searching for ways to make sense of the chaos that surrounded them. The Dada movement, which emerged between 1913 and 1916, was born out of this chaos. It was a radical response to the horrors of war, a rejection of the conventional norms that had led to such widespread destruction. Originating in Germany and France, Dada was not merely an artistic movement. It was a protest against the absurdity of the world, a critique of capitalism, and a rejection of traditional logic. It was in this fertile ground of dissent and innovation that Man Ray found his calling. Man Ray was not just a participant in the Dada movement. He was one of its most influential figures. As a close friend of Tristan Tzara and Marcel Duchamp, two of Dada's leading voices, Ray was at the epicenter of this radical transformation of art. Yet while Dada sought to embrace the absurd and the illogical, Man Ray took it a step further. He was not content to merely challenge traditional art forms. He sought to elevate photography, a medium often dismissed as purely documentary, into the realm of fine art. In a time when photography was increasingly being used to capture the stark realities of life, Man Ray dared to dream. He saw in photography not just a tool for documentation, but a means to explore the surreal, the unreal, and the imaginative. This vision set him apart from his contemporaries and placed him at the forefront of a new artistic revolution. But what was it about Man Ray's work that made it so revolutionary? The answer lies in his ability to see beyond the surface, to challenge the viewer to look deeper. His photographs often appear strange, even nonsensical at first glance. Yet as one spends more time with them, a deeper meaning begins to emerge, a reflection of the Dadaist belief that meaning is not always immediately apparent, and that true understanding requires an open mind. Man Ray's innovative spirit can be traced back to his early education at the Ferrer Center and Colony Institute, where he was immersed in anarchist ideals and taught to question everything. This foundation of critical thinking and defiance against the status quo was evident in his approach to both photography and painting. To Ray, these were not distinct disciplines. They were simply different tools to achieve the same end. Just as a writer might choose between a pen and a typewriter, Man Ray moved fluidly between mediums, always in pursuit of a new way to express his ideas. This fluidity and openness to experimentation became the hallmark of Man Ray's legacy. He did not merely create art, he challenged the very definition of it. His work, steeped in the Dadaist tradition of the absurd and the surreal, forced viewers to confront their own perceptions and biases. Yet despite the apparent strangeness of his images, there is an undeniable beauty in their composition, a testament to his technical mastery and artistic vision. Man Ray's influence extends far beyond the boundaries of photography. He paved the way for the Surrealist movement, which took Dada's exploration of the irrational and infused it with a dreamlike quality. His close association with figures like Duchamp and Tzara helped to bridge the gap between Dada and Surrealism, ensuring that his impact would be felt for generations to come. Today, Man Ray's work continues to inspire artists and photographers alike. His legacy is not just in the images he created, but in the spirit of innovation and rebellion that he embodied. He showed the world that art does not have to conform to traditional standards. It can be a powerful tool for challenging perceptions, provoking thought and inspiring change. In reflecting on the legacy of Man Ray, we are reminded that art is not just about what we see, but about how we see it. It is about pushing boundaries, breaking rules, and daring to imagine a world that is different from the one we know. Man Ray's work remains a powerful reminder that true art is not confined by the limitations of medium or convention. It is a reflection of the limitless possibilities of the human imagination.